My casework is currently inundated with constituents experiencing housing issues. Families are stuck on waiting lists for permanent homes. Individuals are stuck in unsuitable temporary accommodation, living with damp, mould, mice and rats. And students are presenting as homeless as they cannot find affordable accommodation where they study. With the appointment of a specific housing minister, it appears that Scottish Government are beginning to take this homelessness and housing crisis seriously. Scotland is experiencing a housing emergency with record number of children trapped in temporary accommodation. As of September 2022, 9,130 children were reported to be living in temporary accommodation. That is over a 100% increase in the comparison to a decade ago. The number of families presenting as homeless has also increased massively, with 40% more households in temporary accommodation than in 2014. Edinburgh Council alone is facing a £65 million bill to tackle homelessness, and local authorities across Scotland will also be buckling under the weight of overflowing housing sector. No local authorities was able to meet its rapid rehousing aims within the projected 5 years. Without allocated resources from Scottish Government, local authorities will continue to fall short of their housing aims. The temporary accommodation task and Finnish group have made distinct recommendations about how to begin to solve this homeless crisis. The Scottish Government must take significant action now to address these recommendations. If it does not act now and provide resources to meaningfully carry this recommendation out, then they are not worth the paper they are written on. Homelessness can affect any groups, and it is not just families that are suffering in this housing crisis. Yesterday, I asked the Scottish Government what its response was to a recent report by NUS Scotland that a fifth of international students in Scotland had experienced homelessness during their studies. The study found that international students were actually almost twice as likely to find themselves homeless than home students. This is unacceptable, and the Scottish Government must act now to ensure that international students are welcomed into Scotland and looked after during their studies. In January this year, I hosted a student housing roundtable which addressed problems students are having in sourcing accommodation. I was told a similar story of students being unable to source accommodation, with many having to sleep on friends' couches or source accommodation far outside the city they were studying in. The Scottish Government must also do more to hold universities accountable for the housing needs of their students. Further investment in overpriced, purpose-built students' accommodation will not solve this problem. The Scottish Government must act now to begin solving the magnitude of problems in Scotland's housing sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr.